You and the survivor barely reach the pallet, and it's time to play a mind game. A mind game that you play at least once in every single match you play. I will explain to you that these mind games are more complex than just a 50-50. There are two major factors that are excluded when you say it's simply a 50-50. One are your reflexes, and two, your body language. Your body language plays a key role in your ability to mind game in almost any game, but it is also included in this game. And your reflexes allow you to react to these mind games, and ultimately, the survivor can have the reflexes to pallet stun you. Let's start at the most basic level and work our way up. Two options for both sides. The survivor will drop the pallet or not drop the pallet. The hunter will swing at the pallet or walk through the pallet. Now let's go deeper. The survivor can drop the pallet or not drop the pallet, standing behind the pallet, or the survivor cannot drop the pallet and keep moving. Now the hunter can swing at the pallet or swing while walking through the pallet, or walk through the pallet first, then swing. If we reanalyze our choices and assume the hunter does the same thing, we can also assume that if the survivor does number 2, they will get hit, and if the survivor does number 1, it might look something like this. So number 1 is very basic on both ends. However, 2 and 3 are including body language. It is including movement, but it is not specifically for mind gaming. It is simply for the fact that if the hunter misses a swing, there's a likely chance that the survivor can loop the pallet one more time and replay the mind game. Now let's include real body language and real reflexes. The survivor can walk past the pallet as bait, pull back, and pallet stun, or walk past the pallet as bait, pull back, and not pallet stun. The hunter can react to the pullback and swing at the pallet, or ignore everything and walk through. Let's actually analyze number 4 on both ends and see what happens in real time. The survivor decides to include body language. Survivor decides if it's true or false body language, which in this case, it's false, it's bait. The hunter then decides to react or ignore this piece of body language. But then the survivor includes another piece of body language, in this case, pulling back to the pallet, and then the hunter ultimately decides to react to the survivor pulling back to the pallet. In this case, they react and swing at the pallet, and at the end of it all, the hunter wins. If the player decides to ignore body language and they don't rely on reflexes, it is a pure 50-50. If the player does this, what they are doing is committing to a play that they have made up in their heads before the mind game has even begun, and they're just going through with it. They don't care what the survivor does. They absolutely don't care. And this is when it is truly a 50-50. There's no advantage. You're not attempting to give yourself more leverage. It is a 50-50. However, if you go over here, you can see how we implement body language. You can see how we implement reflexes to somehow give you leverage. It's not guaranteed leverage, but it might give you leverage. And as an example here, I can decide to move or not to move. I don't have to decide on this. I can just sit behind the pallet if I really wanted to. But this might bait the hunter. And this is when we get to the next point. You can decide if it's fake or real. Like, I might just run past the pallet, right? As I showed you guys. I can decide, okay, do I want to go to the next pallet? All right, I'll go to the next pallet. It's real. However, I could decide if it's fake. No, I'm not actually going to run and use a new pallet. I'm going to go back to the same one. And you might fall for it, you might not. And regardless, this is a reactive play utilizing your reflexes. This is simply not using your body language, not using your reflexes, but just sticking with your gut, basically. You're sticking with your gut and you're hoping it works. This has a little less, but I'm going to show you why that is. The hunter can also do movement or no movement. There's not a lot of options for the hunter because at the end of the day, you're trying to catch up to the survivor. There's not a whole lot you can do, but there is one thing you can do where you can make it a movement and you can make it real or fake. Say this is a pallet. I'm walking. Boom, now I can get pallet stone, but I move back just a little and then I swing at the pallet, baiting the survivor to drop it, and I get a hit. It's the exact same thing. If the survivor does not care, if the survivor never chooses to react to what I do, instead they just ignore and go with what they planned from the very beginning, the movement that I did does not matter. And same thing if we go further down here. As a hunter, I can choose to react or ignore any sort of movement the survivor does. And if I react, I will play a move based off what I see. Otherwise, I will simply play a move that was planned from the very beginning. The game does not teach you this, experience does. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.